Hey YouTube, Bob here. Welcome to my first video in just about a little over a year. I think it's been that long. And right off the bat, you're probably noticing that the scenery is a little bit different, and there's a reason for that, which I'll explain in just a moment. But before I do, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who has been messaging me over YouTube, asking where I am, if I'm okay, and if there's another video coming along. Your encouragement and support really does mean a lot. And to that end, I want to, explain why I haven't been uploading some things to YouTube lately. And the main reason is because of what's sitting right next to me. In some of my other videos, I think I mentioned that about 2 years ago I started learning piano, and that's basically what's been taking up most of my time. All that time I used to spend getting out my Nintendo collection, filming footage, editing it together and uploading it to YouTube. Well, now I'm spending that time going to lessons and practicing piano, which those of you who take a musical instrument or have any proficiency, you know what a big time commitment that is. So basically that's kind of where I am in my life right now. My focus has shifted from Nintendo to piano. And don't get me wrong, I still love Nintendo, I still collect, I still play games, but piano has kind of taken priority, at least over, my time is concerned. So I do want to get right into the video here, which is going to be a 2017 Nintendo Loft tour. I didn't do one last year because not a whole lot had changed in my loft since the last time I did a video on it. And to be honest, that's still kind of true, but there are some new things that I have and some rearrangements that I have made. So I thought maybe you'd enjoy taking a look at those. So without further ado, let's head on up to the loft. In this year's video, I think I'm going to start with the pièce de résistance, which is my entertainment center. And if we start at the bottom and go up, you can see I've got drawers for my controllers, which I will go through later at the end of this video in case you're interested in seeing what's in there. All my Nintendo consoles, handhelds. If we go up top, you can see it's starting to become a little bit overrun with my Amiibo figures. I've got the Super Mario series up here, and that's mainly because I don't have enough room to put them where I have all my other Amiibo figures. But hopefully within the next year or two, I'll be able to move into a bigger place and come up with a more elegant solution for displaying my Amiibos. But additionally, up here up top, I have my posters that are kind of hidden behind the Amiibo at this point that used to come packaged with Famicom disk systems. Got Super Mario Bros. 2, Metroid, Legend of Zelda, and Kid Icarus. And in between those I have the boxed limited edition of the Game Boy Advance. At this point I don't remember if it was to celebrate the 20th or 25th anniversary of the Famicom, but they released a lot of popular Famicom games and Game Boy Advance cartridges. I've done a whole video on this, and I'll link that in the video description to this video if you're interested in seeing that. Moving down a tier, you'll see I have all my Nintendo handhelds. Starting in the top left, my original Game Boy systems. Got the original there on the left. Pocket, Light, which is essentially a Game Boy Pocket with a backlit screen, and then the Game Boy Color. I also have the Virtual Boy, pretty much just for posterity. Down one more tier, have the Game Boy Advance line, the original model, and the two SP models. The one on the left is the original with the backlit screen, and then the one on the right here is the re-released one with the brighter backlit screen, and then the Game Boy Micro. Moving to the right, you've got the original DS line, got the original Tank, and then the DS Lite, DSi systems and DSi XL, 3DS systems, 3DS, 3DS XL, and then the 2DS, and then one more hop to the right here, we have the new 3DS line of systems. You got the XL, the original, and then the new 2DS XL, which just launched here in the United States on July 28th. The right-hand side of my entertainment center I keep pretty much to display and use all of my consoles, starting with the TV game Sheikah, I believe was released around 1977. It's a Pong system, and it's in a bag. You're going to see a combination of consoles and even handhelds in bags just to keep the dust off, with holes cut in the back to allow air circulation. And then I was able to get some of these custom cases that I was directed to on the Etsy site. I think I found out about those from Metal Jesus Rocks. If you're interested in getting some covers like this, I will be able to link that in the description for this video. But up top here we've got most of my Japanese consoles, the TV Game 6 included. We've got from right to left the original Famicom and Disk System, Super Famicom and the Satellaview add-on, N64 with the 64DD add-on. I've done a video series on the unboxing and hookup of the 64DD. In the future, I will be doing something similar for Satellaview. Got my Japanese Gamecube, Wii, and Wii U. And the main reason I have these Japanese systems is because region locking. But now with the Switch, hopefully region locking won't be much of an issue. If we jump back up to this tier here, we've got the redesigns. We've got the Famicom AV right here, and then the Super NES Junior, or Super Famicom Junior, as it was called in Japan. Jump down here. I did a little bit of a retooling of my game drawers, which you're going to see later on in this video if you stick around that long. So my Famicom robot and Rob the robot were not able to fit in the drawer anymore, so they have come out to be display pieces. But they have so many nooks and crannies and stuff, I just got so sick of dusting them, so I just put some bags over them to keep the dust off. But also sharing the shelf with them are my redesigned systems. This is the NES top loader, the Super Nintendo Mini or Junior, and then the redesigned Wii without the GameCube ports, and then the Wii Mini right here. Then coming down one more tier, we've got my Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Nintendo, N64, and GameCube, Wii, Wii U, and finally the Switch. And to the left of the Switch here, I've got some Wii remotes and nunchucks, the white, blue, black, and red variety. And these are really the only controllers I keep out because I got those nifty little cup holder things from Club Nintendo years back. All my other controllers are in these drawers here. This entertainment center has two very big, deep drawers that on their own aren't the best storage solution. So what I've done, and you may have seen these in other videos, is I bought some bins. And each bin corresponds to a console for the most part. So at the end of the video I'll be going through these bins should you be interested in what's actually inside them. But if you're not, I'll save you that and just continue on with the tour. But what I will do for now is take a look at the other one, which has some more of the retro controllers. See, we've got NES, Famicom, Super NES, and Super Famicom. Turbo controllers for those same systems. And then N64 and GameCube. And got some other things thrown in there as well, such as the Power Pad and the Super Scope. But moving along here to the left of my entertainment center, not too much is new over here. I moved my the few Game & Watch systems that I have, Donkey Kong, Super Mario Brothers, and Legend of Zelda. I still do have my frame posters up there. I got Super Mario Galaxy. One of the things that I've had to kind of retool since the last video is my player's guide shelves, because I'm starting to run out of room. So what it used to be like is that I had all the player's guides start here on the left and continue over here on the right. So in order to free up some space and allow for this Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild display, what I did was remove my soundtracks, which I used to have on this shelf right here, and instead I put them on this tall CD tower that I used to have in my game room for several years until I got some other game shelves. But being able to put the CDs on here freed up room for my player's guides, and it allowed me to display some other things that I had. So having the CD tower kind of in the corner behind my speaker and my my receiver for audio works pretty well. Of course, I'm not able to use the bottom half of it, but hey, I still have a lot of extra storage now because of it. So here on the left and continuing over on the right, these are all my player's guides. And unfortunately, space does kind of continue to be at a premium, as I am running out of it already, but I've got a little bit of extra room there for some of the more modern player's guides that still come out. But what I really do like is having the Breath of the Wild display here. This is from this sword and the pedestal is from the Master Edition, which came with that, as well as the coin with the Sheikah eye on it. And the sword with the map in the back is flanked by the Hyrule Historia and the Art and Artifacts books, published by Dark Horse. On the left, these are the special editions, and then on the right, these are the standard editions. So we'll move along here to the left as we pass my Metroid Prime poster, as you've seen in other videos. So under the window here, there isn't too much of interest other than this little cabinet that I have some essentials on, like my Chromebook and my cell phone. Got another phone down here that I use as an alarm clock. Roku, Android Wear Watch, remotes. Over here, this is actually Nintendo related. This is the Virtual Boy carrying case that was never available at retail, but this is what Blockbuster video rental companies used to give you to take home when you rented a Virtual Boy. And it's a really nice hard case. It's got a bunch of foam compartments that are cut out to match the dimensions of the Virtual Boy pieces exactly. So it's the best way to store your Virtual Boy. In these little drawers here, there isn't too much that's Nintendo related, just some random, technology and headphones, so nothing too much of interest there. So we'll keep moving on to the left. So over here, this is pretty much my import shelf, and the biggest change you'll see is that I used to have a whole bunch of boxed Famicom accessories on top of these shelves, and even in the lamp here. And I replaced those things with some other parts of my collection, mainly because I've taken those Famicom accessories out of the box, and now I'm storing them with my other NES and Famicom controllers, which you'll see towards the end of this video. What I've replaced them with here are my Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Toad, Princess, and Yoshi themed Wii remotes, and the gold Wii wheel for Mario Kart Wii. But I haven't gotten anything new in the lines of any Japanese imports. Got the gold Punch-Out, which continues to be one of the favorite parts of my collection. Some Famicom Disk System games, and then Famicom games. I've done videos on a couple of those Famicom games, and I don't go through and name every title that I have. Instead, I'll put a link on the screen right now to my Backloggery page, so you can see a list of the games that I actually have in my collection, both import and non-import. One of my favorite parts about my import collection are on the left and the right here. That is a complete software library for the 64DD. And then these Game Boy Advance games right here, those are the ones that are a part of, oh look, a dog. Those are the ones that are a part of the Famicom 20th or 25th Anniversary Edition. So we're going to keep moving along here, despite the fact Puppy wants some attention. Yeah. So this wall right here is where I have my entire game collection. Starting on the left, we have NES games, Super NES games, N64 games. Something that's new that I've acquired since the last tour video are the little end caps or dust covers. Super NES games were shipped with those until about late 1993, early 1994, but N64 games never got such a treatment, so I was able to get those. I found out about those. I don't remember where, but I'll put a link in the video description here if you're interested in picking up some dust caps for your N64 games. Then I've got some room for growth here. These shelves are all pretty much empty, mainly on the Gamecube and Wii shelves. Got Wii U, and then just a couple of Switch games. At this point, I only have 1-2 Switch and Breath of the Wild. games that are kind of like an obvious, why don't you have them, like Mario Kart and ARMS and Splatoon 2. I did do Mario Kart. I did the digital download of that one because that's a game that I just want to have on my Switch at all times. I don't want to have to worry about having to insert a game card or not. But the main reason that I don't have, some of the more popular titles like Splatoon 2 or ARMS is I'm just saving my money a little bit. I'll get them when I have a chance to play them. I've been focusing my efforts and enjoying immensely Breath of the Wild lately. So when I finish that one, I'll pick up some of the other games that are must-haves for the Switch. And then coming on over here to the right, we've got my Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and Virtual Boy collection. And moving down even further, we got DS and 3DS. I've pared down a bit of this collection, some games that I haven't played in a while and that I don't think I'll ever return to, just to free up some space and allow for expansion. And the lamp here, just have my Nintendo Promotional VHS. Of all the videos on my channel, these get pretty much commented on the most, which is interesting to see. So if you're interested in those, I have a playlist about Nintendo Promotional VHS. Check some of those out. They reek of the 90s and early 2000s. They're awesome. Got my framed art up here, posters that used to be shipped with Nintendo and Super Nintendo consoles. Tetris lamps, complete with a piece out. We must fix that. Boom. There we go. Some Mario figures. Coming down, we've got a Goomba and 1-Up Mushroom figure, which is awesome. Got my collection of Nintendo promotional brochures, which I've done a video series on. You can check that out if you want to. And another Goomba figure. So that brings us over to the next wall of the room. And the fourth wall here really isn't a wall at all, because if you've seen my other tour videos, you know that I have my collection in what's called a loft, which is a second-story room that's kind of open to one side. So what I've been able to do to utilize some of that open space is I built these shelves to put my Amiibo figures on, and almost immediately after I did that, the shelves were about 2/3 of the way full, which they are getting almost to 100%. But what is different this time is this shelf here on the left, I believe, is now home to what I hope, come on Nintendo, stop it, is my complete collection of Smash Brothers Amiibos. And I think in total that's 62 figures. So I pretty much have them arranged in chronological order by when game series were released. So starting in, I think it was like the late 70s with the Game & Watch, continuing on with things like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, moving into the Mario series of figures, which continues on through the beginning of the second shelf. And we've got Metroid, Kid Icarus, then Legend of Zelda starts, Punch-Out, Mega Man, Mother, Fire Emblem. And then in order to see the rest of the collection, we kind of have to cruise around over here to the back of the shelf, which we'll do. Let's see how good my telephoto lens is. So way up there we got a continuation of Fire Emblem, then move on to things like F-Zero and Kirby, Street Fighter, Donkey Kong Country, Pokemon. We got Cloud in there. I got both versions, Player 1 and Player 2. Same with Corrin up there in Fire Emblem. And then Villager, Pikmin, Wii Fit Trainer, Bayonetta, and then something from Xenoblade, I think that's called. That's not really my kind of game, but I think that's Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles. And then the Mii Fighters. One thing you'll notice is all my Smash Brothers Amiibos, they are individually packaged. I didn't really like those kind of grouped bundles that Nintendo did here in the United States for things like Splatoon, and even for some of the figures like the Mii Fighters for Smash Brothers. So I did import those from Japan or Europe where it was necessary. But if you come to the back of this shelf, Got the Splatoon series, or part of it, because I got them going on the back and the front of the shelf. The new Pikmin one that just came out. Mega Man that was part of the bundle with the anniversary collection on the 3DS, which is why it doesn't really have proper packaging. Chibi Robo, Shovel Knight, and the anniversary Pixel Mario. And then the few that were released for the Kirby series. Animal Crossing up top. Breath of the Wild. More Animal Crossing. And then some more of the Legend of Zelda series. Yoshi. And then more Splatoon. And of course you can't forget Mega Yarn Yoshi on top of a question block here. So this is my not so elegant solution for storing and displaying my Amiibo figures. Like I said, hopefully when I get a bigger place in a year or two, I'll be able to come up with a more attractive way to display them and actually have them all together so that my Super Mario series isn't kind of isolated from the group. But that's what I came up with for now. And it's kind of on this area of the collection that isn't Nintendo oriented. And I've talked about this before. One of my main goals in collecting is kind of piecing together my childhood and getting the things that I used to have again, and getting the things that I always wanted but never had. And I did have a PlayStation growing up. I did have a Sega Genesis growing up. So for me, my personal collection, those things are essential, which is what this portion of my collection is all about. So we'll move on over here and take a look and see what some of this stuff is. Hopefully you're interested in some of this, even though my channel name is World of Nintendo. I do have my Sega Genesis collection over here. There's something about this that makes me immensely happy, and I don't know what that is, but it's just having Sonic 1 in the Model 1 Genesis, Sonic 2 in the Model 2 Genesis, and Sonic 3 in the Model 3 Genesis. That's awesome. I love that. That makes me very happy. But anyway, that aside, one thing that I did have to do last year was replace my Sega CD system, my original one here, because it just decided to stop working, as they tend to do. It's a very, I don't know, complicated tray loading system, and that still works. It's not a mechanical issue. It's some, I don't know, electrical issue or something. You just power it on and absolutely nothing happens. Tried to fix it. My friend who has some electronic and electrical know-how wasn't even able to fix it. So what I did was I replaced it with a Model 2, which has the flip-top door and is known to be quite a bit more reliable. But I do have these systems hooked up to this CRT TV with the Retrovision component video cable that I did a video on. And we get quite a nice clear picture on the CRT TV. So that's how I play my Sega Genesis games. As far as controllers are concerned, keep them all in a drawer here. I've got the ones that I use the most on top of bins that are full of other types of controllers for Genesis that are either extras or that I don't use all that much. Something that's new, well, not new, I've had it, but I actually moved it out here, that's the new part, is I decided that I wanted to be able to play my TurboGrafx 16 games on this TV. So I do have my TurboGrafx 16 down there. In order to hook it up, I have to pull it out, and then I have to attach the turbo booster to it, and then I can attach it to this TV using composite video. And I know composite video isn't the greatest, but whatever NEC did, it has a really clear composite video signal. It's actually pretty nice. So this is how I'm playing my TurboGrafx 16 games, which I brought out here, right next to my PS1 games and PS3 games, which are over here. This is where I have my PlayStation set up with some of those covers. The reasons I don't have covers for the Sega Genesis is because the seller who I bought them from on Etsy didn't really have them other than for the Genesis Model 3 or Model 2 it was. So I'm holding out until I can get some covers for all three of my Genesis consoles. So that's to come. And then up top here I've got my Okami collection. A new piece that I was able to get is the complete soundtrack for Okami then, which is the DS iteration of Okami. It's not the same game, it's a sequel, but the soundtrack is there. The box set for Okami then does have a soundtrack, but it's just a collection. It's not the whole thing. This is a whole 3 or 4 disc selection of all of the songs. And Okami, the HD release, is on PS3. And that's one thing that I forgot to mention. You may remember, if you pay very close attention to detail, that my PS3 used to be vertically right here. It no longer is. It's now over here. And that's something that I forgot to mention when I was over on this wall of the loft here. The reason I moved it over here is because I use it now as my Blu-ray player. In addition to playing the very few games that I have for PS3, I use it to watch movies that I still have on disc. And that has kind of freed up a lot of space and clutter over here where I've got my receiver for audio. So it's got kind of a cleaner look. I was able to reduce the height, and I have more shelves available here on this CD tower. So kind of dual purpose there. But back to this area of the collection, moving on to the left. These are some Club Nintendo rewards. Got those pins and games that at this point I just don't really have the space to display properly, so they're kind of tucked away back there on the floor. Got my right speaker with the Legend of Zelda Deluxe Player's Guide because, well, that's the only place it fits. That thing is huge. It won't fit upright on any bookshelf that I have, and the speaker actually kind of accommodates its footprint perfectly there. So I thought I'd put my treasure chest of Legend of Zelda Collector's Guides reissues on top of that. And then my brother got me this huge Mario figure for my birthday last year, which is a nice piece in the collection. So we're almost about to make it full circle here. You've seen this shelf many times in my other room tour videos. Got some figures up top. Those Mario figures were available at the Nintendo World Store probably back in about 2006. They've since been continued a long time ago. Got my Animal Crossing e-reader cards for the original Animal Crossing on Gamecube. And these little albums here, these are for the Animal Crossing Amiibo cards, which this here is Series 4. I do have a complete set of all of these cards throughout these 4 albums. Moving along, just some random things, books, Nintendo Power supplements when they were still being published by Future US. Some Nintendo-themed board games. I've done videos on the Monopoly games. And then down below, my complete set of Nintendo Power magazines with divider cards by volume and year. So that brings us back to the beginning. And as I mentioned before, I'm going to go through these drawers where I have all of my controllers. And you can take a look and see how I have things organized and what I actually have for each system. So let's take a look at those. Alright, starting at the back here, I've got the power pad for the original NES. And then what I've done here, my Nintendo Entertainment System gamepads and my Famicom gamepads, just kind of go up the list here. You got NES, NES Top Loader, Famicom, Famicom AV. And if you continue up the Entertainment Center here, you've got the same thing. NES, Top Loader, Famicom, Famicom AV. And the same thing for the Famicom and Super Nintendo. Super Famicom Jr., Super Famicom, Super NES Mini, Super NES. And that's how the controllers go down the line too. Back in the day, turbo controllers were all the rage, especially when Street Fighter came out. So if you had a turbo controller, it was a lot easier to consistently pull off the moves like the Hadouken or the Sonic Boom because you could turn the turbo on and the button press would register more precisely or at the right time. So turbo controllers were really nice, especially on 8-bit shooters, or shoot-em-ups rather. Having that turbo fire was a really nice option. So you got the NES Max here, and the ASCII pad for the Super Nintendo or Super Famicom. So let's crack the lid off the first one here and see what we have. Lot of controllers. This is the receiver box for the Super Scope, which is the equivalent of the light gun for the Super Nintendo. Got the multi-tap for the Super Nintendo. This is great for playing Secret of Mana, which actually has a 3-player multiplayer. You can play with up to 3 people at once. This is the scope attachment for the Super Scope. got some extension cables for controllers. You got the RAM cart for the Satellaview, and eventually I'll do a video on the Satellaview. You can see what this is all about. Got the equivalent of the Advantage in the form of the Super Advantage, which is pretty much a really hefty arcade stick for the Super Nintendo. And then just pretty much repeats of all the controllers that you've already seen on the top of the bin here. Got Super NES, Super Famicom, and then the Super NES mouse, which was mostly used with the Mario Paint game. So these are pretty much all Super Nintendo controllers. So if we remove this bin, we have another bin. And if we crack the lid off this one, we have Nintendo Entertainment System controllers. We've got the 4-score, which is pretty much a 4-player adapter, and the Satellite, which is another 4-player adapter, but it is wireless, uses infrared technology, so you definitely have to make sure that there's a clear line of sight between this unit here and the receiver that you would plug into the front of your Nintendo Entertainment System. I've done videos on those a long time ago, should you care to check those out. And I've got some extra NES controllers, original and Dogbone variant, and the Zapper, and the original NES Advantage. And moving along to the left here, if we take the lid off of this red container, we've got some more Nintendo Entertainment System pieces. Mainly what we see here are some accessories. These are the 3D glasses for the Nintendo Entertainment System for use with games like Rad Racer. And then pretty much the rest of what's in here are pieces to Rob the Robot, or the Family Computer Robot. These are pieces to the game Stack Up. And then all these other little contraptions are for the robot game Gyromite. So we lift up this bin and we're greeted with another bin. We'll lift the top off of this one, and what do we have? Ooh, we've got GameCube stuff. Kind of oddly placed, but I don't really have a whole lot of... There weren't a lot of peripherals released for the GameCube. It's kind of interesting. If you go down the line, NES to Super NES to N64 to GameCube, fewer and fewer peripherals were released for those systems. So that you can see here in GameCube. What I do have is the Wavebird wireless controller, the Hori Super NES pad, or the Game Boy pad. This is for the Game Boy player to kind of make it more comfortable to play games that were originally released on a 2-button controller. But it also has full GameCube functionality minus the analog sticks. We got the microphone that was used for games like Odama and Mario Party. And then below, we just got some color variants of the GameCube controllers. We got the Indigo. There's an import white one down there, black, and then the clear and indigo variant. Move to the left here and crack off the top. Remove the N64 and GameCube controllers, and we've got N64 controllers. Mostly what we see here are some of the first color variants of the N64 controllers, and these are the ones I'm most interested in. I know there's a whole lot more. There's the Fantastic series with that kind of translucent shell, but the reason that I like these the most is because number one, I'm a big fan of bright, vibrant primary colors, if you can't tell by these bins and everything. And number two, they were the original color variants for the N64. The logo was based off of them. The packaging, each side was either red, green, blue, or yellow. So I think it was just kind of a nice motif that they had going on there. So that's why I never really ventured into collecting the Fantastic. These were the ones that were around when I was, playing N64 back when it was the system. And they're just the ones that I remember the most fondly. The only translucent one that I do have is this smoke one that came with the smoke-colored N64 that was released with the 64DD that was included in the bundle that I have for it. And I've done a whole video on that, so if you want to check out that series, you can definitely do that. Got the AV cart that goes along with one of the Mario Artist variant games for the 64DD. Oh wait, no, that's not what this is at all. That's what this is. This is the AV cart for the Mario Artist games. This is actually the RANnet Ethernet adapter cart, so you could get online with the 64DD. Got a transfer pack down here, more controllers, the N64 mouse, and over here is the foam for the microphone, which are all accessories that go along with the Mario Artist series for the N64DD. And then on the bottom here, in this box, which I'm not going to take out now because it's got a whole bunch of stuff on it, but is the keyboard for the N64DD. And that, of course, was for getting online with the RANnet service. So that's the N64 bin. So remove that. And we've got a blue bin. Well, what's in the blue bin? There's really only one way to find out. Let's take off the top. Ooh, Super Famicom accessories. This is the keyboard. The Famicom, believe it or not, had a basic programming language. So this keyboard was to facilitate inputting commands and basically writing code for the basic language. So that's what this keyboard is. Take up the keyboard. Got the cassette player, which is really the recorder, which was a way to record data for programmable games such as Excitebike. We've got the 3D headset for games like Rad Racer or Highway Star. And then we've got the network adapter. You could actually go online in 1985 with the Famicom. I've done videos on things like that, so if you want to check those out, feel free to take a look at my Nintendo Unboxed playlist. Alright, so getting that all put back together brings us to the left-hand side bin, which actually has a lot more modern things in it. On the right here we've got two sets of bongos for the Gamecube. Those were for playing games such as Donkey Konga and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Got the dance pad for Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix. And on the top we got another green container with some Wii U controllers. We got the game pad and the Pro pad. And get these out of our way here. Take off the lid. Have a scant offering of Wii U accessories because there really weren't a whole lot, that were, for functional purposes. We've got the GameCube multiplayer adapter for Wii U, USB cable, the charging stand, and the regular stand for the gamepad. Got the feet for the system, which I don't use because I keep mine flat like that. And then you have the little stand for Wii Party, I think it was. Got a hard collector's case here for the gamepad. And this one actually has my white gamepad for my Japanese Wii U, which is up there. So lift up the green box. Got a white box. And take the lid off the white box, and we have Wii accessories. Quite a few more than the Wii U. Starting, I've got some limited edition New Super Mario Bros. Wii straps, which are the colors of the pipes here that you see. Some nice primary colors, minus green. Have a Super Famicom Wii controller. This is interesting because this is essentially what they're going to be doing now with the Super NES Classic Edition. Pretty much a Super Famicom controller with this kind of Wii remote adapter on it. But in Japan they were selling these for years for the Virtual Console. So this is one of those that I have. Got a whole bunch of straps for the Wii remotes. Got the GameCube to NES adapter and the GameCube to Super NES adapter by Retro USB. Nice peripherals. And then just a whole bunch of different controllers and variants. Got a couple Wii wheels down there. We've got the two versions of the Pro controller. or wait a minute, how do they do this? Classic controller. This is the Classic Controller Pro, and then my regular Classic controllers are right here. But there are some color variants in here. I've got the red and gold Wii remotes and nunchucks. Got some extra cases or little pad things so you don't throw your remote through the TV and damage it as much. And then I've got a little third-party holster to put your Wii remote in to make it more comfortable when you play games like New Super Mario Brothers. So quite a few Wii peripherals in here. And moving to the left here, we've got a smaller yellow container, which if we take the lid off, we've got Switch peripherals. We've got some of the wheels for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This piece right here is something I haven't had a chance to use because all I have really are the original Joy-Con. But this is a charger for the Joy-Con. It connects via USB, and this is actually really nice. It's got a really hefty build quality to it. Feels like a quality accessory. Got some holsters here to put the Joy-Con in on their side to play games that require, you know, just using the Joy-Con on their own a little bit more comfortable. We've got the non-charging holster that came with the Switch. And then this is one of my favorite accessories. This is a stand that allows you to have the Switch plugged in and charging while you're actually playing it. Because as you know, the charging port is on the bottom, and if you use the built-in stand, well, you're not going to be able to charge it because that needs to touch the ground in order to do so. So this is definitely an accessory I would recommend if you want to charge while playing. And speaking of Switch, you can see that I've got 3 Switch Pro controllers up here on top of a blue bin. What do we have in the blue bin? In the blue bin are DS and 3DS accessories. This is the little pouch that was offered as, I believe, the last Club Nintendo reward, or one of the options. Got the Kid Icarus stand so you can use the buttons and the stylus at the same time. Have the 2 soap dishes. These are pretty much the Circle Pad Pro for the original and the 3DS XL. All the batteries, which I've taken out because I don't use a lot of the 3DS systems on a regular basis. This is the Amiibo Pedestal so that you can use the NFC with the original 3DS units that don't have it built in. Got an adapter here, Wi-Fi. This is the mouse controller for the import game Slide Adventure Mag Kid. And then I believe the pedometers for one of the walking games that Nintendo put out. So this bin had the 3DS and DS portion of the handheld accessories. The last purple bin on the bottom here has my Game Boy accessories and peripherals, which as you see just looks like a mess of cords here. We've got the cable GBA to GameCube for the Game Boy Advance. We've got the AC adapter charger for the original Game Boy. We've got the multi-tap for the original Game Boy, Game Boy camera, Game Boy printer, and a couple rolls of paper for that. We've got the e-reader adapter, bunch of AC adapters, and then of course the batteries for the Game Boy systems that I don't really use a lot. And tucked away in the middle of all these bins is the Sheikah Slate Switch case, which is a really nice addition in the Master Edition version of Breath of the Wild, as well as the Collector's Edition. This is one of the pieces that they both had in common. The piece that they didn't have in common that the Master Collection, or the Master Edition did have, was the sword. And one last thing before I put everything away. Can't forget the balance board for the Wii. Well, as it turns out, I guess you can. Alright guys, well that's about all I have for you right now. I hope you enjoyed my 2017 Nintendo Loft Tour. And that's probably going to be one of my last videos for quite a while. Within the next year or two, I'm going to be looking to move to a bigger place. And I'm hoping that having more space will make it easier for me to record the footage for my YouTube uploads. But until that time, I'm still going to be playing Nintendo, I'm still going to be collecting Nintendo, and of course, I'm going to be practicing piano. So until then, you'll see me next time.